Hey everyone! So we finally got rocket choppas, and it's been quite a wait, around 5 days. But for some big tech, we gotta make a big push. So already got rocket choppas maxed out, and with the tokens, we want at least GBE to level 4. Eventually we're gonna get some more GBE, so level 4 is good enough. And we didn't have enough for Take 4 shock launchers, so we just got one extra rocket. But the other big thing we're gonna do is now that we're using rocket choppas and other people are using them, we're gonna go from 2 machine guns to 2 cannons. And that's really one of the main swaps this season. Some people went from a hotpot to a microwave, because even though none of these protos really do much to air troops, a hotpot stays underground but a micro has 25,000 HP. So if you want you can change to a micro, but we're gonna just save our diamonds and not do that. We'll go ahead and put our cannons down and try a few hits. So for the most part, if we're not facing boom cannons, I like going with full-on RCs. And we're still running no instant training, so we'll try not to lose a single one. And I think for most cases, going from just the right side. And it's kind of getting good practice for how you're using those abilities. Because you really have two in your arsenal. You got shock bombs and critters. Just right away, go from the right side. At least on these hits, almost always doing a building flare, because then the RC is spread out and you don't have to worry too much. And it's kind of alternating between shock bombs and critters. So like here we'll do a shock, could have done a critter too, it doesn't really matter. Like anytime you can use a shock bomb, but only a few times you can use a critter. So trying to find places where there isn't too much splash, especially right on top of cannons. Even that might have been a bit too early, but sometimes you have an RC that likes to go a bit forward. So like here we do a critter, and like there's no reason to worry about those buildings. So you can already start flaring to this ER, and just kind of going around everything. Like as this ER dies, you go ahead and flare the last one. That's a good thing about rocket choppas. You only really care about the engines. You can skip so many buildings that compared to bomber hits, it's going to be a lot faster at 5 ER. So like right here getting 247, and I would guess around like 240s, 250s when there's no boom cannons. But once you do have them, maybe like 230 times. And another thing we can learn is how long it takes for abilities to go from the gunboat all the way onto the base. Because if you throw shock bombs or critters at the same time, they're not going to land at the same time. Shocks usually travel faster, which really helps towards the end of the hit. Whereas critters, you want to throw it a few more seconds in advance, just giving time for them to land and distract buildings. Because everyone hates when you throw critters too late and a boom cannon still shoots. It happens to all of us, but trying to find ways to avoid it. Since this base has an ER so close to the beach, we can even kill it and then just flare towards the right side. And we can try critters first, but knowing that they're going to take a while, as soon as we drop the RCs, waiting just a few seconds, and really throwing the critter early. Trying to get the maximum time for it to land and distract stuff. So we'll just kill this ER, then flare towards the right side. Finding ways to avoid a bunch of buildings. Here we'll do a shock bomb. We can throw it a bit later since it's almost instant. Like you see the gunboat is right here, and especially when you're kind of close to it, these abilities don't take too long to land. When we're more towards the back of the base, then it takes a little while. So here just keep on going. We threw one more critter for that cannon. Now we'll do a shock bomb for that boom cannon. And I think in just a bit, we'll do one last critter for that cannon right there, but then just start flaring the last few ERs. Don't gotta worry about that cannon cause got critters to distract. And make sure we shock that BC right there. One final shock. If we're lucky, maybe we tank one shot from that level 4 cannon. But not so lucky, still at 246 though. And it might be a little tough pushing this first rank. This time between after we have rocket choppas but before we have boom cannons. And even if it's a bit of a grind, I guess worst case you can just wait until one more chest. But for us right now, we'll try to be a bit lucky, beat these boom cannon players with maybe just a few seconds. One good thing about facing level 4 cannons is almost ignore them hitting RCs. We'll still try to shock or crit or some of them, but if they hit one shot, RCs can survive. But at least for this first one, we'll still drop Kavan first, get the RCs going, because he's just a free distraction. It's not like we need him after the beach. But on something like this right here, we're not going to do any shocks in the cannon, instead just wait for the boom cannon. So get one right there going, and later on maybe a critter, let's say on the engine. It might not be enough time, so another trick we can use is just flare the boom cannon directly, just to make sure we get it down before the critters die. And later on again, we're gonna kinda ignore that cannon, instead save our GBE to shock the boom cannon. Because even if it shoots once, well I guess it doesn't do it, but if it did, RCs would survive. And at least on this hit, we'll do I guess one more critter, and then really just start flaring. We do have to be a bit aggressive, especially when he has boom cannons and we don't, because others can be really fast on us. We'll get maybe one more shot going right here, and kind of hope if a 248 is enough. I guess he also didn't have building health, so that really helped out. But luckily have all our RCs alive, and see if it's our boss fight to 18. It looks like it is 10 seconds, so getting that win. And it feels good when you finally get that rank up, so getting the 18 chest. But because right away we can get boom cannons, we can still keep pushing a bit. So picking these guys up, and if you have the option between these launchers or boom cannons, even though level 3 gets you the max buildings, you do want to max out boom cannons because you get a lot of extra HP. Going from 10,000 to I think almost 15k, which sometimes when you only have a few rocket choppas on a boom cannon, it really makes a difference. What is next though is we do want to get some second shock launcher, so we can start doing a few upgrades but don't actually get it until the next chest. And now that we do have boom cannons, we're almost guaranteed to face other people with boom cannons, and we're going to do a different style hit for pretty much the rest of our push. And that hit's using one rifle bomber to the left side. It's almost always going to get this ER, maybe even that engine. And then the rest of the 6 rocket choppas for the right side. And I like this hit because, well, 1, it's safer, 2, it's more consistent, and if anything, you lose less troops, so it really helps us out with no instant training. Usually if there is a cannon there, you can just drop Kavan on the right, do a second wind right away. We're not going to let him die because we still want him alive in case some other bombers die to those mines right there. So right here, you can go ahead, drop Kavan and do a second wind. We'll do a rifle going for those mines. And the RCs, you can drop close to that sniper. If you drop them too far to the right, then the chance they die to that cannon. And I guess a bit lucky, but cannons looking at rifles. And on the right side, just kind of alternating between critters and shocks. Always like a critter first because it's kind of close and you know it's going to distract long enough. And then later on, get a shock for that boom cannon. Shocks and boom cannons especially because, well, it's long range and they last a full 10 seconds guaranteed. Another shock on the right side. And on the left you can see some rifles dying to do a second wind. Because some people do like having a lot of shock launchers on the left side. We'll get one more shock going on the far right. And we can do a critter on the machine gun. So already the bomber took down the left ER. And in fact we might do another second wind. Because even if the RCs on the right die out, you can even have bombers on the left to finish off the base. But on the right side, I'm gonna wait just a few more seconds, and then send that last flare. One final shock with the very last cannon, and getting around maybe a 230. Because the boom cannons, like we said, 230 times are what you should be aiming for. Got a 19 right here. And on these bases, even though there's a lot of mines, we can still do the same bomber hit. It's a good thing he only has level 3 boom cannons, because it's just a little faster for RCs to get through that side. So again, doing Kavan's second wind, start a rifle early on that side, get the RCs going. We delayed the bomber a few seconds because we want more rifles clearing the mines. And just watching any RCs, making sure they all go towards the right side. If one veered off towards the left, you can just send a flare. And Kavan's second wind rifles, helping out with more mines. So now it's really just watching the right side. You're still looking on the bottom left of your screen in case you lose any bombers. Because if you lose bombers, you want to do second wind pretty soon. If you wait too long, then a bunch of rifles die and you don't get any bombers back. But even right now, we're still doing a second wind, not because we lost bombers, but we need more rifles for all those rockets. Let's get a critter shock. In that corner, a critter shock is usually what we do. It's often just enough to deal with a boom cannon and cannon. Get one more critter right there. And in this space, we can just start flaring. Have plenty of GBE, get 2 shocks going. And the best part again, keeping all our rocket Choppas alive. It could be a little tough managing both sides, but if the hit ever goes wrong, you can always watch which one could be a little bit better. And some good stars right there. And now that we got rocket Choppas and boom cannons, you can also think about next steps too. Oh, I feel bad for this guy. Our boss fight might be a guy with no boom cannons. But we can still try the bomber hit. If anything, we're too lazy to switch troops. So still doing like Kavan rifle on this side. But thinking about next steps, there's really 2 options we can go for. One is either getting building damage, but more importantly, some extra GBE. Because right now 40% is okay, especially for these bomber hits. But we would like some little extra. It just means early on we have more to deal with, and especially flaring that last few ERs. But I think the other option might be a bit better, and that's going back for some other tech. Going back on 5 ER for some more troop health, 2 extra cannons, with a big defense being the Sky Shield. Because once we get a Sky Shield, it's really tough to flare, let's say, our last 1 or 2 ERs. It makes a huge difference and would even waste like a full 10-15 seconds. And another reason is, if other people who already pushed with only GBE got diamond, Sky Shield might be exactly what's needed to kind of catch up. Because we might be a little behind, let's say, people who really rush forward. And every season you're looking for different ways to kind of bridge the gap. But here we're doing a ton of shocks. In fact, it's kind of slower than the boom cannon base. But against cannons only, I think they got no shot to beat a 237. And I'm really liking this bomber hit. Feels a lot easier to pull off, and we're actually losing less troops now than using full RCs. But now, that's going to be just enough for 19, so getting that chest. But like we were talking about in the other hit, between getting some building damage and more GBE, instead we're going to go back for this dead end all the way to that Sky Shield. We want to go for this top one instead of through bullet, because one, we don't have tokens for bullet, but the other reason is troop health helps against these rockets. 2 cannons also is annoying for other people. So we can already start going that way along that side. And with our tokens, we do want to save, well, 1 for that shock launcher, and then probably a mix between this troop health level 3, 1 more rocket, and eventually we're going to do some more GBE. So it should still be a good chance to push the next few days, and we'll see how it goes. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.